What's good, everybody? What is good? You know what time it is. They are doing pretty much the elections today, which is coming up real soon. I'm gonna be just pretty much doing this review. It's because there are gonna be plenty of other live shows, and I know you're thinking, well, but you got the watch hours, you got this, you got that. But to be honest with you, I'm just gonna be watching and give my own take on it. I'm not gonna be that kind of person that's screaming at the damn screen and what they said this and say that. Mainly because I am not a fan of politics. I have no problem watching debates and things like that, but I'm just not a fan of politics, which it will be going through, not even in real time, because I just kind of paused it right now, so it's kind of people. I'll be just giving you my own initial thoughts about everything, and then we'll run it from there.
On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon.
We hear these kind of things, but you know how I like to do things here, which is also break down this narrative because, quite frankly, Trump has taken a hit from not speaking too clearly on this particular thing, and he's even pretty much just said it right now during this debate, which it still doesn't sound nice, but he's saying that migrants are coming in. And specifically, he mentions, people from Venezuela and such, because those are mainly Hispanic people who have come through, who have come over. But this idea that he says that they're coming over and they're taking Hispanics jobs that are here, they're taking African Americans jobs. There is some of that, you could say, but I don't know to what large amount that would be. I think there are other things that's more on the priority list for when it comes to people. It's not like they're just coming in and kicking people out the door. Also, this narrative that there's a race issue, there's a racial component, because it's mainly, and it's true, it's mainly affected those of Hispanic and of American Hispanic and African American residents who are already here. Like I said, that's something that needs to get really expressed.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century.
I think politicians need to stop using that. They need to stop saying like the worst of the worst when comparing to something. I'm just gonna straight up say there has been no economic situation that we have gone through that has been as bad as the Great Depression, even as bad as 2008 was, from how it was in 2008 compared to also how it was with Trump in 2020, coming all the way now that we're looking at the difference between Biden and Harris for 2024 that we're talking about today. It wasn't the worst. People were still thriving. People were still receiving money. There was the whole stimulus package. It was not as bad as the Great Depression, and I really wish that we could be more honest. Again, they're politicians, they lie, but we need to be really smart enough, because history tells the tale, and a lot of us don't like to look at history, so we tend to believe what just flies out of people's mouths. So that's not true. That's a shame on Harris.
Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Problem there. The Civil War, you're mentioning times that that the majority of people who are here now will never have any real knowledge of. It's all in history, it's all in books, or it's all that's being taught. There's no one here that can tell you about the Civil War. But you would also say that the worst attack, key word folks, attack, since the Civil War. Would you really say that I'm assuming what she means is she's talking about January 6th. And if that's the case, you're going to tell me that was the worst? Are we forgetting 9/11? Are we forgetting 9/11? Are you really going to say that January 6th was a worse attack than 9/11? Let's talk about the time span. Let's talk about the fallout, the lives that were lost, cleanup, the emotional distress, and what led us to an actual war in a whole other land. Are we really going to say that January 6th was worse than 9/11? Guys, we have to pay attention, because we're talking about people who are playing with clouds, for messing with people's memories, because they're stirring up emotions.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips.
She pivoted. She didn't admit that they are still keeping his tariff agreements on the books. She pivoted. Now she's talking about the time during the semiconductor chip shortage.
To China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out when a policy about China should be in making...
Wait, hold up. With respect to companies like NVIDIA, there were not many companies that made semiconductor chips. There weren't. That was one of the big reasons that we had a huge shortage. Elon Musk started investing in them. Sony started investing in them. Samsung began investing in them because all of our semiconductor chips were coming from outside the country. Where else were we going to get them from prior to the investment that started happening here within the United States? That's a little misleading.
But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump.
That I have to agree with. It came from his country. It came from out of the area of Wuhan. I don't think that he should have thanked them, especially the fact that they knew that this was something that was actually going on. And again, guys, you can go really deep into the whole making of the virus and the whole Fauci thing and whatever else like that. You can get rid of that. That's not really getting into, but I don't understand why you would bother thanking a president who held a secret. It's not like it was something that he didn't know. He held a secret which affected the entire globe. I'll give Harris that one.
I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. For 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important.
Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact.
So let's take a look at this, because Trump's position on abortion has evolved over the last 25 years, and that evolution is something his Republican rivals have been quick to attack. Take a look at how that position has changed over his decades in public life.
I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of abortion. I hate it. I hate everything it stands for. I cringe when I listen to people debating the subject. But I just believe in choice.
I'm pro-life. You're pro-life, but you do think that there should be exceptions for rape and incest.
Yes, and life, the health of the mother, the death.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
We got it back to the states. We did the Roe v. Wade thing, which they've been trying to get it done for 50 years. I got it done. I believe in the 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I believe in that. Without the exceptions, it is very difficult to win elections.
Going to come
Would you sign
together.
federal legislation that would ban abortion at 15 weeks?
No, let me just tell you what I do. I'm going to come together with all groups, and we're going to have something that's acceptable. I mean, DeSantis is willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that
I
goes
think what
too
he
far?
did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot.
Excuse me. So that just go against, again, if this is an issue that happens within states, if this is an issue that's happening within clinics, then we need to take a look at the bill that's taking place because of what the Supreme Court did with Roe v. Wade. But I can tell you from my ears, from several other clippings from beforehand up until this very debate that we have right now, that he would never want to put women's right when it comes to sexual assaults, when it comes to incest, when it comes to the health of the actual mother. He stated that multiple times, and he even stated it just before Kamala decided to turn around and actually say anything about it, despite the fact that it just left his mouth and he's actually got multiple tapings of him saying so. Kam still turned around and then said that this is what he wants. She literally went against everything that he just literally stated and has been stating for at least a couple of years, if not longer than that. In fact, he said it for even after the Supreme Court did it. He's been saying this for a long time. So the fact that this is the narrative that's still said, whether you say he put them in, he put the Supreme Court justices in order to do that, it was still their decision to do so. It's not like the 3 Supreme Court justices could overtake all the others. It takes a vote, a full vote. Well, not a full vote, but it takes the majority vote. Like, why are we not looking at the other justices?
She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term?
What are some of the things that she has already stated that was going to be something that Trump was going to do? Lies, grievances, and name-calling. He hasn't done the name-calling yet. He has chastised her policies, but he hasn't chastised her. Yeah, I haven't heard anything that really states that he chastised her. And again, if you felt that I'm wrong, let me know when, because I might have missed it. Grievances. This is a grievance that she's putting on him right now, and it's a lie because she's saying that this is stuff that he wants or whatever, or rather that he put the Supreme Court justices in that particular position so that they can do that. So these are also things that are part of grievances and lies. That's just the way how I'm seeing it right now.
It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state.
Life is pretty tough. It can be beautiful, but it can be difficult. We are doing something with IVF, because IVF, as you know, from friends, people you know, it's really worked out very well for a lot of people. It gave them a child when they would not have had a child. For people that are using IVF, which is fertilization, the government is going to pay for it, or we're going to get or mandate your insurance company to pay for it, which is going to be great. We're going to do that. We want to produce babies in this country, right? We want to produce babies.
I'd have to look at the numbers on that because I don't know of many couples from my previous research. I don't know of many couples who are being refused IVF treatment, unless they're literally saying that they're being refused because looking at the health of the actual potential mother-to-be, that she would not be able to safely carry to term. That's the only thing that I really know. I don't know of the people who are really going to clinics and they're being refused IVF treatment because you're not talking about, quote, the deletion of babies. You're talking about people who are trying to get pregnant, who want to conceive, not want to delete. So I don't know from my research anyone who's being refused IVF treatment that does not result in the complications of actually having a full-term pregnancy and full-term birth. That's so I don't know where that came from. I might have to do another look, but that is strange to me. Second part is it would not be the proper thing for a doctor, a physician to do, to put the, quote, patient's life at risk because it's something that they want badly, even though the chances would be negligent towards their survival. It's not within the doctor's best practices as being liable for the death of that actual person. I don't, that whole IVF thing is really, really weird, just in terms of what I looked at and also just in the face of just pure logic and liability. It just doesn't make sense.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization.
I think a lot of people are going to, sorry, move that mic, take with them into several conversations. There are people that's still pretty much online, probably still going through debates, giving their own takes or whatever. And like I said, this was not something, because I'm not a huge political fan, to want to just really go through this whole thing crazy live with you guys. I'll make the decision of whether I just want to put this up as a premiere. You guys will have my thoughts or whatever is going on in it. If I decide to do that, I'd rather try to clip this up. But I know there are people who want to sit by and do a whole bunch of analysis of criticisms, not necessarily listening and just, agreeing that this happened or agreeing that that happened or whatever. But there are people out there that is probably just on the Kam Kam bandwagon and they're just totally crapping on Trump. And I'm pretty sure there are people who are pausing to just totally take that breath away and try to stomp all over what Kamala has done. I think I have pointed out for the things that I know. Again, I'm not a huge political person, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know some things that have been, quote, verified, or some other things that do look as rather suspicious. And I've given my particular points on that. Outside of that, I don't have anything more to really bring forth in terms of how these two people are going to run the nation. Because we also have to keep this in mind, folks, because we look at this dog and pony show, and that's exactly what I'll always be calling it, a dog and pony show. What they say they will do versus what they will actually do are not the same thing. They're not the same thing, not by a long shot. But I'm going to get off, and what I'm going to do is take a look to see what other people's analysis, what other people's thought process are when it comes to this particular debate. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably still live right now. I'll have a look at their chats, talk to people in the chats maybe, or even if I go on a panel, we'll have that particular discussion, or I'll just listen to what their actual thought processes are. I expect to hear a lot of biased criticisms into who they want to pick. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the panels that I will see will be more one side or the other, rather than there will be a healthy dose of people who have their own different opinions. Because let's just be honest, if I see those particular panels, they'll be doing more of trying to one up each other and trying to be right, rather than just to be effective and actually just listen. And hopefully that's something that I brought to you guys today, because I really did try to listen as to what they were saying, whether I think if it's true or not, and then most of all paying attention to not only what they said but what they didn't say. And I know I'm going to go through this a little later to see exactly what were some things that should have been touched upon, or some things that maybe I should have probably thought about, and what I'll be thinking about in terms later. But these are my raw reactions to this stuff. This is not my favorite thing to take a look at, but I know it's something that's important to a lot of people, and I know some people are going to want to know what my thoughts are on it. And then when the time comes, I'll take another look at this and see if maybe even some of my positions have changed or whatever after hearing what other people's takes on it as well. I will be doing Opinionated with yours truly, Opinionated with Resla, and I just don't know how early or how late I'm going to be doing it. If you have not subscribed yet, be sure to do so. Like and subscribe to the actual video. to the stream, whatever. Just pay attention to the notifications, because most likely when I am planning to actually go live, I will send out a community posting to you guys so that you'll have a good idea so when it's gonna happen. Outside of that, guys, I will see you on the next one, and you guys take care of yourself. Later, y'all.